Hello everybody, my name is Mike Snow, and I wanted to do this quick video just to talk about The Room, the greatest movie of the 2000s. And no, don't argue with me on that, it clearly is. Now, I know everyone's talked about this, and everyone in the world has spoken about it, but I wanted to put my 2 cents in because recently, a few days ago, I went to see The Room in the theater, and oh my god, was it a magnificent experience. I mean, it was truly incredible to see it on the big screen. I'm telling you, you haven't lived until you've seen Tommy Wiseau's gristly, strangely muscular ass many feet tall in front of you on the screen. You really need to see it just bigger than life, because that's what Tommy Wiseau is. Now, this film, if you haven't heard of it, just to recap, is a ridiculous B-movie made in the early 2000s by a strange Eastern European immigrant named Tommy Wiseau. He probably, and he's very mysterious about this, came over from Poland to France, then to Louisiana, then eventually to San Francisco in the 1970s, early 1980s, roughly. And he actually, weirdly enough, became very wealthy. He became a millionaire. He lived the American dream. And he is just absolutely extraordinary. After a while of working in the clothing selling business, where he made a tidy sum of money somehow, no one quite knows how, and there was intimations that there was some sort of illegality involved, he decided that he really wanted to get into acting. And he is just an absolute magnificent disaster as an actor. He's just loathsome and terrible, and like everything is wrong with his performance in this movie. The tone, diction, inflection, timing, speech, everything that you can get wrong about speaking is wrong about him.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
The movie, unlike most horrible, so bad it's good B movies, is not actually a science fiction or fantasy movie. It's not like Troll 2 or Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's actually just a straight drama about Tommy Wiseau living in an apartment, playing a character named Johnny, that's essentially himself, more or less, and the terrible trials and travails of his life. And the way in which it's done is ridiculous. Everything about it is wrong. He wrote and directed, sort of directed the movie, and starred in it. And there are so many things wrong with it, I can barely even... I can't even list it. You just have to see it. It's one of the most indescribable movies I've ever seen. A man is going to get married to a woman, but she cheats on him, and their relationship is ruined. But that's not it. You know, you have to see it to understand it. The way in which it's done is so magnificent and so incredible that you just have to try it out. By off chance, if you haven't seen this cult film, I highly recommend it. And seeing it in the theaters was one of the best cinematic experiences I've ever had in my life. Everyone there was laughing. Everyone was having fun. I was laughing at almost everything. It was even though I'd seen it many times before, it was still worth seeing. And I want it back in theaters. It was in for a one-day run. One day of this movie, which is shocking. That is disgusting. This should be here weeks and weeks on end. Why do you want to go see something like Star Wars, where you can see The Room over and over again? This was so much fun to see everyone united. And I'd say over 75% of the theater was full. So people came out to see this movie. They really did. Sometime last year, I bought The Disaster Artist, which was written by one of the actors in The Room and sort of a friend/producer/assistant to Tommy Wiseau, Greg Sestero. And it is a remarkable read. I highly recommend this book. It is really, really funny. Some of it is filled with boring, prosaic stuff about Greg Sestero's life when he was younger, but when he talks about Tommy Wiseau in the set, it is crazy. It is amazing. I have not seen the Disaster Artist movie, but I probably should. If you like books about movies, this is where you gotta go. This is absolutely incredible. I really enjoyed it. I've read it several times, and I love every bit of it. Now, the reason I wanted to make this partially is just to be exuberant about a movie that I love, but also because I want to mention that The Room is a better film than the vast majority of movies that are nominated right now for Oscars.
You must be kidding, aren't you?
You know why? It's because those movies that are going to get Oscar awards this year, these crappy, trashy, boring, Oscar bait bullcrap movies, those movies are made by committee. Those movies are not usually made with passion. Those movies are made without a powerful artistic drive like someone that Ed Wood or Burt I. Gordon or Tommy Wiseau has. The Room is a better film than all of those movies, and I'm serious about this because it accomplishes what art is supposed to do. It takes something that is on the interior of a human being. We're unique as animals, and that we're able to take our inner thoughts and feelings and drive and emotions and put them out and replicate them in a duplicatable form so that other people, long after we're dead, can see them. That other people can know in a physical hard copy of what you feel inside. And that's exactly what you get with The Room. The dialogue is insane and horrible and looks like it was written by someone who's speaks English as their fourth or fifth language, and that replicates Tommy Wiseau. We can learn from that, oh, Tommy Wiseau is someone who's an immigrant who comes from another country, probably spoke Polish or something like that, and has no facility with the English language, and it comes across as very awkward and strange, and he probably listens to other people and hears what they're saying in a very strained pidgin English kind of sense, and can't really make it out. And that comes across perfectly in the movie. He's showing us his inner self. His soul is on that screen. He also shows his troubled and uncomfortable attitude towards women, the powerful desire for a bromance. He really wants a friend. Immigrants probably experience some sort of cultural isolation if they come over here, especially if they don't come with families. And Tommy Wiseau was totally alone and barely interacted with people and seems like an extraordinarily lonely person. And a lot of the movie is just him having this masturbatory fantasy of having sex with this beautiful woman, or just having a friend. The first stuff makes him seem kind of like a jerk with what he does with the character of Lisa, is having this almost pornographic fantasy where he gets to writhe around with this naked woman. But he becomes pathetic when you see that he just wants a friend to talk to, and creates this elaborate cinematic experience where he can always look up at the screen and pretend that he has a friend like Greg Sestero right there, and is living this fantasy life that he doesn't live, where tons of people care about him and tons of people love him, and he's having parties and he's getting married, things that are totally alien from the Tommy Wiseau experience in his real life, sadly. We also get to see that there's a strong underpinning of depression and sadness with Johnny, with Tommy Wiseau, with both of them. It doesn't matter, because both, the character of Johnny in The Room and Tommy Wiseau, who's certainly a character himself, he's clearly a very lonely, sad, depressed kind of guy, and that really comes across in the film. This is a masterpiece. You really have to see it. It's better than most Hollywood movies because you get an interior look at someone's inner life put on the screen. And isn't that what art is supposed to be? That's what art is all about. I say go out there right now and demand that Tommy Wiseau, in the streets, demand that Tommy Wiseau should have a much bigger run, weeks-long, months-long run in your local theater, so we can go see him every single week and sit down and watch this masterpiece of cinema. Thank you very much. My name has been Mike Snow. If you like this video, please like it. And if you want to see more videos like this where I talk about film and video games and other things like that, please subscribe to my channel. And if you have seen The Room or have not, explain to me why you love it or why you haven't seen it yet and if you plan on seeing it. And explain to me why I'm right that the movie is one of the greatest films ever made and one of the greatest films of the 2000s. Don't try to argue with me because you're wrong. This is one of the greatest movies ever made. And, yeah, tell me what you think of this new camera and microphone setup, because this is something that I just had, and it's very different from what I've had before, and if you like it, or if I should change some things. And I'm going to be making some new content very soon, so thank you very much, and have a good night.